Hey everybody, how's it going? Just doing a video to go along with a post for the Fortress Monastery. It was essentially Armies at a Glance, which is a new segment I'm doing. Pretty much these videos that go with the posts won't have any of the fluff really on them. I might touch on it here and there, but it'll still be at a glance about like war gear and stuff like that. The post itself on the Fortress Monastery will have a minor fluff section and a minor overall gameplay section, including war gear and units and whatnot. Okay, so I decided to start with Necrons first instead of Space Marines. Necrons are pretty cool. They're essentially the faceless dead, robotic zombies. And they have some several special rules for their armies. One of which is "We'll be back." Basically, "We'll be back" follows the same exact rules as "Feel No Pain." Only it happens during the beginning of your movement phase and not when the wound is taken. At least I think it's the beginning of your movement phase. Essentially, it doesn't happen when the wound is taken. So it's a little bit more complicated just because you have to remember to do it. Stuff like that. It's not even really complicated. It's just more of a hassle, really. Rumors say that that'll be changed with "Feel No Pain" given to them in the new codex. It'll probably still be called "We'll be back." It'll just probably grant "Feel No Pain." Another rule they have is Gauss weaponry, which is a cool rule. Basically, it allows you to always glancing hit a vehicle on an armor penetration roll of a 6, regardless of the vehicle's armor and your weapon strength. So their main weapon, like their basic weapon, which is this guy right here, Gauss Blaster or something like that. I don't really know what it's called. Gauss Flare, whatever. Is strength 4, so you normally can't hurt things above armor 10, but on a roll of a 6 for armor 10, they still glance, which means you're going to at least shake the vehicle, if nothing else. Which will keep it from firing, unless it has like Power of the Machine Spirit or some such thing. Or special rules to ignore, but that's neither here nor there. It also has the ability to always wound on a roll of a 6 to wound. Now, some of you math hammer guys out there are probably thinking, well, who cares? The only thing you can't wound with strength 4 is toughness 8 and higher, really. And that's true. But this allows you to do that with your basic weaponry. And because the Necrons can't take any weapon upgrades in the Necron Warrior squads, it really makes their squads not useless. If you can imagine having like 3 squads of 10, 30 guys, and not having one weapon be useful against a high toughness opponent, that's pretty not good. And also, while yes, bolters can still wound toughness 7 and 6 just as easily as Gauss weaponry, the fact that the rule pretty much says, hey, you can shoot whatever you want and it'll be effective against it if you roll 6s, keeps you in the mentality to at least give it a shot. I've seen games where people don't shoot at certain things with strength 4 weaponry because they just either don't realize they can wound it and don't bring that up, or just forget, or don't think it's worth it. There's also the possibility that they had a better target. But this is nice because it allows every weapon to be useful. So be you shooting at a Bio Titan, Wraith Lord, other Catan, or Satan, whatever you want to call them, it's still effective. Okay, now their rule, which is their weakness, is phase out. Pretty much every model with the special rule Necron counts towards phase out. You pretty much have to count up all the models, not the units, but the actual models, individual models, with the Necron special rule. And then 25% or less of that, the overall number, so let's say it's 100. If you get reduced to 25 models or less, your army will phase out after your will be back rolls. And when you phase out, you auto lose. Everything goes off the table. They essentially vanish eerily to go with their whole, mysterious zombie-like roboticness. So that's that. Now, like I said, there's no real weapon upgrades for the army. You can give disruption fields, or disruptor fields, whatever they're called, to certain units, which allow you to auto glance vehicles on a roll of a 6 in close combat. So that's nice to give to things like scarab swarms, and I'll talk about stuff like that in a second. But it doesn't give you the auto wound on a 6 for non-vehicle models. If it did, that actually would be pretty good, because then you could just assault stuff. Like, it wouldn't be, I shouldn't say it would be very good, it'll just allow you to assault and wound stuff. Anyway, the one model that does have a lot of warrior options is the Necron Lord. Now, the Necron Lord can take 100 points worth of war gear. In addition to that, I'm pretty sure it's in addition anyway, they can upgrade their Staff of Light, which is an AP3 weapon, which is nice in and of itself, because the Necrons are a shooting army, and that pretty much will kill Marines if they're not on cover, to a War Scythe, which doesn't shoot at all, but doesn't allow for any save at all in close combat. No invulnerability saves, no armor saves, no nothing, and you roll 2d6 plus your strength for armor penetration. So it's nice if you want to kit him out to be assault heavy. Now, the actual war gear you can take is a bunch of stuff. I know people are thinking probably, and I was put on the Fortress Monster in the comments, somebody's like, why would you take anything but Veil of Darkness and Resurrection Orb? And for tournaments, that may be true. Resurrection Orb I'm a huge fan of. What Resurrection Orb does is allows you to make a Feel No Pain roll, or I should say a Will Be Back roll, regardless of if they took a power weapon hit, or a weapon hit that's double their toughness, or if they get rended. Pretty much it allows them to make that roll regardless, because it has the same drawbacks as Feel No Pain, so it pretty much takes those drawbacks away as long as you're within 6 inches or so of the Resurrection Orb. The Veil of Darkness is something where it can pretty much give you a free teleportation away, regardless, even if you're in close combat, not for the Necron Lord and a squad or something like that. It's good. I don't have it on my Necron Lord for an army list that I have, only because I don't use them that way, but that's good for like the pretty much the keep you from phasing out approach. Well, one way to it at least. He has other stuff like Lightning Field, which every time he gets wounded, he can, or at least gets a wound put onto him. I think he can save it still. It does a strength 3 hit or so back. Chronometron, which does, I forget what that does. He has Phase Shifter, which gives him an invulnerability save, which I like a lot, because I might as well do that for the inevitable close combat, or if he just gets caught with a high strength shot or an AP something shot, give it to him, give it a chance. He has a higher toughness than the other guys, so he can take the hits. You can also give him a Destroyer Body, which makes him a jet bike and increases his toughness to 6. He's at 5 normally, he gives him +1, so now he can't be instant killed except by special war gear. I've seen many things, and I saw on the Fortress Monastery blog, somebody said they saw a Destroyer Lord leading, kitted out for assault, essentially War Scythe, Powerly, Phase Shifter, leading a whole bunch of Scarab Swarms in the close combat, which is a pretty cool idea, because now you have a whole bunch of multi-wounded things when he's in there to get shot at, and then in close combat he has a bunch of things with him, cheap attacks essentially. Now there's a variety of units, not going to go into them. Most of them focus on shooting. There's some anti-psychic. There's an anti-psychic unit called the Pariah. Essentially, thing that collects this assassin. Essentially, if you know what that is, but as a squad, without the war gear. They have a War Scythe with built-in Gauss Slayer, so that's nice. So it's a squad full of War Scythes. Their drawback is they don't have the Necron special rule, so they don't count towards phase out, and they're points heavy. Our Terminator costs like 4 points more or whatever, and he gets an invulnerability save and storm shields and whatnot. Anyway, the only thing that I will touch on quickly is the Monolith is very non-killable because of the new vehicle damage chart and the way it works. It's a cool vehicle. I'm not going to go too much into it because it's got a lot of special rules. Just go out and get the codex to look at it, or ask somebody. And Satan are special characters. Essentially, they're special characters, 2 gods. The Nightbringer's good in close combat. The Deceiver's also good, but he has more like supplementing stuff, like more like a supporting role. Pretty much, people will gun for them or avoid them. They're pretty slow, so they can be avoided pretty easily. But once they hit home, they're devastating. They're hard to kill. Not so much anymore now. They're a little bit easier, especially for Sternguard, but that's another story. So that's a quick Necrons at a glance. Until next time with another army, take it easy.